Allen Company, 47 years young and a proud sponsor, wishes OOIDA all the best as you celebrate 50 years.
OOIDA, representing America's truckers since 1973, presents Landline Now with your host, Mark Reddick.
A driver's retreat has opened in Missouri. We speak with the man behind the idea to offer a place for drivers to rest and relax. A museum in Dallas houses 120 years of motorized masterpieces that combine motorcycles and art. Ashley Blackford speaks with the co-founder and director of the Haas Moto Museum. And finally, a shorter shipping week made for a large drop in load volume last week. We'll hear from DAT's Robert Rouse about how Thanksgiving impacted the spot market. But first, the news with Scott Thompson.
Thanks, Mark. Our top story today. The Midwest Commercial Vehicle Safety Summit got started in Kansas City, Missouri on Wednesday. The two-day conference brings together representatives from federal agencies and the trucking industry, along with researchers, enforcement officers, and others, with the goal of increasing commercial motor vehicle safety in the Midwest. FMCSA Administrator Robin Hutchison got things going on Wednesday morning with a fireside chat of sorts. During a conversation about the agency's priorities, Administrator Hutchison said preventing crashes in the first place is the first step to bringing down crash numbers nationwide.
The first priority that we have is to go upstream in the safety life cycle all the way to prevention. And that means we have to look at some root causes of why people become unsafe in the first place. The crash that never happens that's what we want. But we got to dig pretty deep. And that means looking at compensation, how drivers are compensated, the effect of detention time on drivers. Were they waiting too long, therefore speeding to get to their next location? We know speeding is top cause of crashes, serious injury, fatalities. Why are women not joining the workforce? Because they may not feel safe and secure. Are there predatory leasing arrangements that are distracting for drivers that they can't focus on the roadway? Yes, we know the answer is yes. So we have a truck leasing task force to address that. Are drivers tired? Do they need more rest? Are they finding places to park? Need to focus on truck parking. These are all root causes of why a driver might become unsafe in the first place. And until we figure some of this out, we're going to be on the back end dealing with the crashes that we see today, over 5,500 fatalities involving commercial motor vehicles. So that's one focus area, is going way to the headwaters of safety.
Administrator Hutchison also talked about the ever-increasing rate of fraud in the trucking industry and vowed to keep fighting it.
And so our focus is on closing these loopholes that allow fraudulent activity, whether from the carrier side or the driver side. So from the carrier side, we're working on a new registration system. We want to eliminate chameleon carriers. We want to eliminate any fraudulent carrier that should not have a US DOT number. These are unsafe carriers and we know it, and we need to eliminate them from the system. We do that with a new registration, a whole new registration system. We have some interim measures that we are putting into place now while we wait for that. Technology takes time to build. We're about a year and a half out from having a system, but we have some interim measures in place.
Running the fraudsters out of the trucking industry is something truck drivers would obviously welcome, but other issues on FMCSA's list of priorities have less support. Administrator Hutchison spoke at the summit about upcoming rulemakings on automatic emergency braking systems and speed limiters as the agency inches closer to mandates.
What we're calling focus rules. These are rules that we want to push them as quickly as we can. One is a joint rule on automatic emergency braking. We do that together with NHTSA. One is a rule on automated driving systems, just creating the guidelines, the parameters around which that happens in the commercial motor vehicle industry. And a third rule on speed limiters, whereby a vehicle that has the technology would need to turn that technology on. That is also an active rulemaking. These are three ways technology technology we can harness it for safety outcomes.
That last point is a point of contention for groups like OOIDA, which says the AEB technology being promoted isn't ready for prime time, using false activations and an investigation by NHTSA into the technology as evidence. As for speed limiters, OOIDA and other groups say limiting heavy trucks to a certain speed will increase interactions on the roadways and thus lead to more crashes, the exact opposite result FMCSA is trying to achieve. Nonetheless, FMCSA appears to be forging ahead with their rulemakings. The agency is scheduled to unveil a proposal to mandate speed limiters on most commercial motor vehicles in December. And in April, NHTSA and FMCSA are scheduled to issue a final rule that would mandate automatic emergency braking systems on heavy trucks. Much more from the Midwest Commercial Vehicle Safety Summit in Kansas City, Missouri, throughout the week. Another member of Congress has added their name to the Truck Parking Safety Improvement Act in the House. Representative Yadira Caraveo of Colorado is the 42nd co-sponsor of the bipartisan bill. As a reminder, the Truck Parking Safety Improvement Act seeks to allocate $755 million over 3 years for the construction of free, publicly available truck parking sites nationwide. There's a House version of the bill and a Senate version as well. Both share the same language and the same goal: to put a dent in the truck parking crisis. To urge your representatives in Washington, D.C. to sign on, check out fightingfortruckers.com. New details tonight on the investigation into that deadly crash in Ohio a couple weeks back that involved a tractor-trailer and charter bus. The Ohio Department of Public Safety is blaming the truck driver for causing it. In a report, authorities say the trucker was following too closely in traffic on Interstate 70 in Licking County, failed to slow down and struck an SUV before hitting the charter bus, which was carrying middle and high school students. 3 passengers on that bus, all 18 years of age or younger, were killed. 3 others in one of the passenger vehicles involved were also killed. The Ohio DPS says none of the drivers involved in the crash, including the trucker who passed a drug and alcohol test, were impaired. The crash remains under investigation. The National Transportation Safety Board is expected to issue its findings in the coming weeks. Several people have been sentenced. 1 has now pleaded guilty and 2 separate companies fined for violating the Clean Air Act. According to the USDOT's Inspector General's office, 10 people were sentenced earlier this year to 12 months of probation each, along with fines, all admitting to disabling the emission controls on hundreds of semis. An 11th suspect pleaded guilty this week. The 2 companies the 11 individuals work for, Accurate Truck Service and Griffin Transportation, were also sentenced to 12 months of probation and $500,000 in fines. A Tennessee-based carrier and an affiliate company have agreed to settle a discrimination lawsuit with the Department of Justice. In a news release, the DOJ said Covenant Transport and Transport Management Services will pay $700,000 in civil penalties for violating the anti-discrimination provision of the Immigration and Nationality Act. The Department of Justice said the companies routinely discriminated against non-U.S. citizens. In addition to that civil penalty, the companies also agree to train their employees on anti-discrimination requirements, revise their employment policies, and open up to monitoring by federal regulators. And finally, a new law in North Carolina, in effect Friday, will stiffen the punishment for cargo thieves. That means additional prison time is on the table for people convicted of breaking or entering into a railroad car, motor vehicle, or trailer and taking off with property. To discourage thefts in North Carolina, the new law allows for the combining of offenses occurring over a 90-day period across the state. Stolen cargo valued at up to $20,000 will be a Class H felony, with offenders facing up to 39 months in prison. Stealing cargo valued at more than $100,000 would be a Class C felony, with offenders facing up to 231 months in prison. That's Landline Now News for today. I'm Scott Thompson.
Thanks, Scott. Next, we'll speak with the man behind a driver's retreat in Missouri, and Ashley Blackford has the story of a museum that enshrines motorcycles. We'll be back in just a moment with more news and information. Please stay with us. I'm Mark Rettig, and this is Landline Now.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you want more content, go to landline.media to get updated news, information, and archived editions of our show. Once again, that's landline.media.
Today's rising costs affect everyone. Replace your harmonic damper with a genuine ViberTech TVD viscous damper to prevent costly repairs and downtime. Keep your money in your pocket and your truck on the road with ViberTech TVD. Recommended replacement at 500,000 miles or 15,000 hours.
Ready to make more money? Use a better load board. For a limited time, get 50% off Truckstop Loadboard Pro. Just go to truckstop.com/go and enter promo code READY2023 when you purchase Loadboard Pro.
Firestone tires are for more of everything. More miles for every tire dollar, and more confidence in your fleet. At Firestone, we help fleets save with dependable value. Find your local Firestone dealer today at firestonetire.com/dealer.
Landline now, welcome back. A trucker's retreat has opened in Missouri. Advertised as the ultimate trucker's haven, the driver's retreat is a place for rest, relaxation, and unparalleled amenities set within a 1950s exclusive country club. Gary Walker is owner of Smoke Wagon Custom Trucks and the new Smoke Wagon Driver's Retreat. He joins me now. Gary, starting off, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you do in the world of trucking?
Sure. So what I do now is I drive a truck. At one point in my life, I had like 20 trucks and also a custom truck shop. So now I have one truck that I drive hauling cattle from Florida to mostly Texas. And then I still do some custom work on the side as far as building custom trucks. Some I do custom work for customers, and sometimes I do a truck to turn around and sell it.
And how long have you been doing that?
Since 1992.
1992, wow. Now, you have a brand called Smoke Wagon. Talk to me, when did that get started and how did that come about?
Well, I've always worked under the name Walker Custom Trucks for a long time, but I love the movie Tombstone. And in the movie Tombstone, the Wyatt Earp character tells the guy to skin that smoke wagon, talking about his pistol. And the name just kind of caught on with me, and I was like, that'd be a cool name for trucking, for a custom truck outfit, because it just kind of goes with the trucking deal. Smoke trailer, diesel truck smoking, and just thought it was kind of cool.
And when you first started it, what did you do under that name?
Just custom trucks.
Okay.
Doing custom work for people, and like I say, also for myself.
And that has since grown over the years. Talk to me about that.
Oh yeah, it's grown to be where I'm kind of known throughout the country, I guess you'd say. I mean, I'm from Florida, originally from Florida, and born and raised here. But, I've put out some pretty nice trucks. I've got people that's purchased my trucks that live in, Arizona, California, Illinois, Missouri, all over, and they always like the work that I put out.
What is it about trucking and customizing trucks that you enjoy so much?
I just always I really didn't grow up in a trucking family, and was just always attracted to trucks at a young age, and just kind of always admired the lifestyle, especially the old school truckers, which I'm 50 now, so it's not like I'm a young buck, but I just try to keep it. I just want to keep the old traditions alive, and the people used to take pride in their trucks, and not too many people do anymore. And I just want to keep all that alive as much as we can, because keep getting newer and newer generations, they get further and further away from it.
Now, you recently took over a country club. Talk to me about that.
Me and a couple other guys were thinking, a lot of drivers are on the road, and some guys, with the way the economy is, have to work and they're out on the road for some of them for months at a time. And so they have nowhere to go to relax. I mean, have you ever been to a Petro or a Flying J? It's not very relaxing. For one, there's not good food. Most of them have fast food places in them now. No good restaurants. So we just wanted a place where a guy can, if he's got to do his 34-hour restart, or if he's having to wait till Monday, he gets on a Friday and he has to wait till Monday to reload, he'll have a place to go and kind of relax and get a little bit different atmosphere than what they have at truck stops. And
where did this idea come from?
Just originated from myself and my partners, from just me being out on the road. And I can't stand, I don't eat fast food. I don't go to McDonald's, anywhere like that. And so I would have to scour around to find a Uber or somewhere I could get my truck in that wasn't a truck stop to eat. And so I got to thinking about these guys that are stuck out there for, 3 and 4 days at a time with nothing to do. There's no reason why a truck driver shouldn't have a place to go to relax also while they're traveling. And a lot of old school truck stops, I mean, I'm talking about way back in the early 80s and 70s and 60s and stuff, they had a lot of those amenities that they don't have now.
Yeah, talk to me about that. How have truck stops changed over the years?
Well, before, and this is kind of the attitude we take at Smoke Wagon Retreat, before it was like, come on in, man. They even went as far as to change your bed sheets while they fueled your truck, washed your windows, and while you went in and got something to eat or whatever, took care of whatever you need to take care of. And now it seems that it's how quick can we get you out of here? Mm-hmm. I mean, you're in and out. There's nothing. It's just so rush and get out of here. And there's nothing good to eat. I mean, guys are, not having a very good diet because there's nothing there to eat but fast food and junk. So I guess not able to get a good meal. And that's something we're doing there at Smoke Wagon. We got a 5-star chef. It's going to be good food and a good atmosphere.
And talk to me about, this used to be a former country club, right? But you've kind of kept some of the amenities that had. Is that right? Yeah,
it's that's what's kind of cool about it. It's like an old school country club, or it is an old school country club for the Joplin area there. And so it's kind of neat. I mean, you got to think in the day, a lot of big deals went down in there with people when they were building, when Joplin was a growing place. So we kept a lot of that kind of that theme going. We've got, a lounge also next in the same building. So 5-star restaurant, lounge next door with TVs. So people want to watch, football or whatever they want to check out on a Sunday afternoon while they're sitting around. We're going to have it available. There's actually a golf course across the street. So if some guys like to golf, so while they're there, they could go across and golf. It's just going to be a place, a great place for a guy to come and relax, or gal. Truck drivers, I guess I should say. So it's not only guys drive. Women drive trucks too. So it's for truck drivers, but truck drivers only.
Yes, I was going to ask that. So you do have to hold a CDL and be actively trucking?
Yes. Yeah. Well, you have to have an active CDL. I'm not going to shun a guy away because he retired, or if he has a CDL, we would allow him to come in.
Okay.
For sure. So.
And I presume you have...
Or gal.
Or gal, yes.
Yeah, I keep saying he, but yeah.
I assume you have truck parking. That's probably an obvious...
We got bobtail truck parking, so we'll have a drop yard down the road off of I-44, and you'll drop your trailer there. And a lot of guys around that area, their trailers already dropped, being loaded somewhere at a warehouse, and they're bobtail anyway. And we're thinking about, we haven't 100% decided on this, but we're thinking of doing a shuttle service also. Maybe if somebody, maybe we need to pick some guys up here and there at the truck stop or whatever. They don't want to bring their truck in. So just trying to make it where we can be, available for anyone in the trucking industry.
Nice. And how important is it for drivers to have something like this that sounds, different than anything before or that exists now?
Yeah, I think it's very important because, most of these guys now don't even know the amenities that used to be available to truck drivers. And they just think it's normal to be treated the way we're treated at these truck stops. And it's not. You can imagine that a truck driver has a stressful job to start with. And then there's no we have no, we're never able to relax. It's just go from one place to another and be aggravated, no matter if you're getting loaded or if you're at the truck stop, because it's just not a soothing place to be. So this is kind of a place to get away from it. It's nice and quiet. It's not the hustle and bustle. Don't have to worry about anybody running over your hood. That's another problem we run into now when you park your truck. If you have a big hood, well, it don't even have to be a big hooded truck. If you have a hood at all, it seems like these guys find a way to run over you or mess your truck up.
And you mentioned a dog park. Of course, lots of truck drivers
yes.
travel with their pets.
A lot of truck drivers travel with their pets now, and so we're going to have a dog park where you can get out and walk your dog and play with your dog and let your dog run and get exercise. And also a grooming station. We're going to have a lady there that, a lot of guys don't have time to get by the grooming station. They're out here on the road. Where do you get your dog groomed at if you need, getting clipped or get whatever,
Wow.
So we're going to offer that also. And what's crazy, I'm going to lead off on this path a little bit, but what's wild is the pushback we're having from the people in the neighborhood.
Oh.
I mean, it's crazy to think that as soon as we start mentioning all this stuff, it's like we're trying to do something illegal, like we're opening a strip club or something. I mean, it's crazy that people think truck drivers don't deserve as relaxing time as anybody else. You know what I mean? I mean, we're not trying to do anything. Everything we do is legit. I mean, not trying to do nothing. All good stuff.
Yeah.
And the pushback we've been getting is really horrible.
And I was watching a previous interview you did. You kind of talked about that on how, we went through COVID and truck drivers were celebrated, on the top. And now, where are we at now?
Yeah, now we're back to being nothing again, right? Yeah, everybody wanted the truck driver to stay out there and work during, leave his family and be out there on the road and work during COVID. And we all, most of us all did. And we were celebrated. We were paid fair. And just as soon as all that's over, we're back to nobody wants us around. Drop the package at the back door and don't bother us. And the rates and the trucking rates are, my God, it's terrible out there. It really is.
So this kind of getaway, this retreat, it sounds very well deserved for the men and women that are driving.
I believe so. I believe it's something been a long time coming, and it's something that people aren't even used to the idea. It kind of takes them a little time to get used to it, but once they think about it, they're like, yeah, that could really work, because there's nowhere, where do they do that? I mean, there's nowhere for a guy or gal to park their truck and have just a relaxing, first of all, good meal that's not a fast food place, and just sit out. I mean, we have a big back porch. You can sit out on the porch where the weather's still nice in Missouri, and just kind of enjoy the day.
And how beneficial is it, to have this place to go, but also to be around other truck drivers that get it?
Well, I think it's very beneficial. Most importantly, I mean, it's good for their psyche, for one, because, like I said, they never get a chance to relax. We go from the warehouse waiting to load or unload to a truck stop where it's aggravating. We're aggravated because can't get on the fuel outlet, or people are blocking the road to get in, or whatever. I mean, they never get that chance. Most people get off work at 5 o'clock. They go home and, hey, kick my feet up the rest of the evening, maybe stop by and have a drink with a buddy or something. They never get to do that. It's always hustle and bustle till they go to bed at night, wherever they do go to bed at night, and get back up tomorrow and the same stuff starts over again. So I think it's a very good idea, and it'd be very helpful. Hopefully we can have more of these. Once we get this one off the ground, I'm hoping we can put more across the country so guys and gals can have a place to kick back and relax, and just get that, just relieve their mind of what the day's brought to them driving a truck, because it's very stressful.
Do you know if anything similar to this exists in the country?
As far as I'm aware of, it does not. I've even researched it when I started thinking about the idea, and started, because I had never heard of nothing like this, being out on the road myself. But I researched it to make sure I wasn't missing something, and there is nothing that resembles this at all.
What's your hope for the future with this in a year, 5 year, 10 years down the road?
Well, I hope we can grow it. I hope it can be something. I hope we have to get a bigger building in Joplin, a bigger place, because I hope the guys and gals fill it up, and we don't have enough room, and we have to turn people away. Well, we get a bigger place, and then I hope that we can spread throughout the country, man. Maybe get one or two more, 3 or 4 more spots across the country where people can do this.
That was Gary Walker talking about the Smoke Wagon Drivers Retreat located in Carthage, Missouri. For more information, including reservations, amenities, and photos, you can visit smokewagonretreat.com. For Landline Now, I'm Ashley Blackford. Stay tuned for more after this.
Control your toll costs and eliminate tolling headaches with Prepass Tolls. Prepass Tolls means toll volume discounts. Just one invoice for all tolls and fewer violations. Call 877-878-5970 or go to prepass.com.
Attention all truckers, Dean Michael, the tax doctor here. I want to talk to you about those dreaded tax problems. I know you want to keep on trucking and not even think about them, but let's face it, they're not going away all on their own. You need professional help. I've been helping truckers put their tax problems in the rearview mirror for years. I can help you too. Call me now for a free consultation at 888-557-4020 or go to mytaxhelpmd.com. It's like I always say, keep your eyes on the road, I'll keep mine on the IRS. 888-557-4020.
It's tested and proven. Burn 2.1% less fuel when you balance all wheel ends with Centromatic. Call 800-523-8473 to get the OOIDA discount.
Landline Now, welcome back. For some, there's nothing better than being out on the open road. Whether it's on 18 wheels or 2, there are a lot of similarities between trucking and motorcycling. In Dallas, Texas, sits the Haas Moto Museum, which houses 120 years of motorized masterpieces. To speak about that, Stacy Mayfield joins me. She is the co-founder and museum director. Stacy, tell me a little bit about the museum.
Absolutely. We're the Haas Moto Museum and Sculpture Gallery, and we are located in the Design District in Dallas, Texas. We house 232 motorcycles from 1899 and on in our vintage section. Then we have a racetrack section that has many world record holders. And then we have another room that is dedicated to sidecars. Bobby only rode sidecars, so that's something that he was interested in collecting as well. And then you move into the next room, which is the custom shop, which is the largest custom collection of motorcycles anywhere in the world.
And you mentioned Bobby. Can you tell me more about him and kind of how this all got started?
So, yes, Bobby Haas started this collection in 2016, and we worked together tirelessly over the years to bring it up to the number that it is today. We traveled all over the world and found and curated these motorcycles in a way that has not been put together before. He did not become interested in motorcycles until he was 64 years old when he got on his first bike. Before that, he was involved in doing aerial photography for National Geographic, and before that, he was infamous for the leveraged buyout deals in the 80s. Mm-hmm. So he earned his fortune and decided to do things unrelated to money. So that's when he picked up a camera for the first time and started shooting these beautiful photographs out of a helicopter in Africa and Antarctica and Latin America. And he had 3 bestsellers with National Geographic. And then he decided he wanted to try motorcycles. He loved to try things that had never been done by anybody else before. So yes, there are motorcycle museums around the world, but none of them are curated in this manner.
And now there is a book, the 120 Years of Motorized Masterpieces. Can you talk to me about the book? The hard part about radio is people can't see it. I wish they could see this book. I've had it on my desk for the past few days, and I've had many people just be like, wow, what is that? Talk to me a little bit about that.
It's a beautiful book, and it was a labor of love. Bobby, unfortunately, passed away in September of 21. And we had talked about doing a book of the collection. And I decided to go ahead and do that project and memorialize the collection. We don't know how long the museum will be around. It'll be around for a bit longer, but things are just unknown right now. So I wanted to get the book done and have this collection memorialized. It's a gorgeous book. And even for people that are not into motorcycles, we look at them as art. They're rolling sculpture. So I think that there's all different kinds of people that will appreciate what this book stands for.
And you did the foreword for the book. Can you kind of explain to me what your message was in that?
The message, I wanted everyone to know that even though Bobby's not with us anymore, he wrote the majority of this book. When you come to the museum, every motorcycle has a tagline by it, and every single one of those taglines was written by Bobby. He would agonize over the perfect sentences. He would only want to give 3 or 4 sentences, the most important things to him about each bike, and that still stands in the museum. And so I incorporated those into the book by the corresponding pictures, and it feels as though he wrote it. And I put a couple of his essays that he wrote in the past in there that I thought were relative. And I really wanted his spirit to shine through in these pages.
You kind of mentioned this. I think it's safe to say motorcycles, even if you've never ridden one or have no plans to ride one, there still seems to be such a fascination about them, especially the ones photographed in this book. Why do you think that is?
I think they're dangerous, they're mysterious, they're sexy. It's just some of those, even if you're not on one, I think it's more interesting to the person that's never been on one, because they want to know what it's like, but are intimidated to what it's like. And, the people that we've met along the way, especially these custom builders that we have created relationships with and consider family, I mean, it takes away all the stereotypes of motorcycling. These people are artists. They're artisans, and this is their passion. They do these things with their bare hands and make these beautiful machines. It takes you into a different world. It's not just a mechanic in a shop hammering on some metal. It's so much broader than that. And it's such a tight community. Like when, motorcyclists pass each other, they give hand signals. Just one of those things where I got you, you got me, no matter what, because we share this interest and love for bikes. And Bobby really embraced that brotherhood and that feeling, as did I. And
how would you describe, now, I think from before I saw this book, when I thought of a motorcycle, I thought of, a Harley Davidson or a crotch rocket type bike. I mean, these are, like you said, these are works of art.
Yes. I mean, we do have some Harleys, but we have so many other countries and decades represented. People come in and think, well, I had no idea the expanse of the motorcycle world. And, they're everywhere. And we have so many countries represented, as I said, and it's one of those eye-opening experiences where, wow, Harley's not the only motorcycle on the planet. I've been missing out, and it becomes infectious, and you want to learn more.
Where, you mentioned these bikes, have they come from all over?
All over. I mean, we have France, we have Japan, we have Germany, we have Czech, we have, you name it. It's there, it's represented, and that was part of the detailed curation, is Bobby wanted to make sure that there was representation from all over the world. There's no favoritism to any one era or country.
And now you mentioned you're located in Dallas. People, I assume, come from probably all over to see the collection?
They do. We have people coming, from all over the world, where it's a bucket list item, and they want to see the museum, they want to experience it. And, my favorite thing, which happens all the time, is when someone walks in the door and they just say, wow, and they're gobsmacked. And to see it is to believe it. The book does the bike justice, but the museum itself is also a work of art. It's a building that you look around and every single thing that you see was a decision, a thoughtful decision, down to the platforms, to the artwork. Everything in it is special.
And the museum, like you said, located in Dallas, but the book really does give people kind of, I assume, anywhere to experience what the museum has, but kind of, wherever they're at. Can you kind of just describe the book? It's a very large book, but does it include all 232 in the collection?
It does. All 232, yes. With brief descriptions and, as I said, some essays. But I think it's a beautiful depiction of what you will see when you come to the museum. We also have a documentary, Leaving Tracks, that came out in March of 21, right before, 6 months before Bobby passed away. That documentary came out, and it's compelling and it's prophetic, because he talks about when he's no longer here, and it's an amazing film if you really want to know more about how the collection came to be and know more about Bobby's life and how he did what he did. And then we also were in the middle of filming a second film called Racing Mr. Fahrenheit. And we were halfway through with that when Bobby fell ill and passed away very quickly. So I decided to go ahead and finish that film as well, which gives us a lot more of Bobby that we all at least the team and I all wanted and needed, and I think most people appreciate. And then it also shows how our recovery and healing has gotten us to where we are.
Wow.
So that should be out at the beginning of the year.
It must be, what is it like for you? Are you typically there every day at the museum?
Yes, I'm there. We're a small team. There's 5 of us. And, you know, Bobby had a saying, find your passion and pursue it with excellence as your standard. And that's how we all worked. And that's how we still work together. And we strive for excellence. We expect nothing but excellence. And so we are carrying that through in his absence. But yes, it's very hard. And for me, we shared an office. We built the museum so that our office was in the center, and we had desks that faced each other. And every day we would sit there and make our decisions. And that's where it all happened. That's where the magic happened. Needless to say, I haven't changed one thing in the office since he passed away. I still sit there and talk to him. His presence is still felt.
What do you think he would think about this book?
Oh, I know that he loves it. I know he's beaming. I know he's proud. I've had nothing but wonderful responses from people, and it's heartwarming to see how much the book is already loved. So he would be very proud of it. The main photographer from the book, he had hired to do the photography of most of the collection, but there was about 30-something bikes that he hadn't done. So I brought the photographer, Grant Swingle, back in after Bobby passed away to finish photographing the collection, and the photos are just amazing. Grant Swingle is unbelievable, and I'm so proud of him for all he contributed to this book also.
Yeah, I mean, I know you said this before. Usually, people will say, pictures don't do it justice. But I feel like you said, pictures do these bikes justice. I'm sure it's better to see them in person, but these pictures are incredible.
Yeah, they are incredible, and to see them in context is a whole other experience. So I hope that if anyone has any interest, they will come see it.
And if someone is interested in watching the documentaries or visiting you, where can they go to do that?
Leaving Tracks is on Apple TV, Vudu. There's some others, and I'm sorry, they're escaping me right now. Racing Mr. Fahrenheit, I'm not sure how that distribution is going to go yet. Right now it's in the festival circuit, but it's scheduled to come out at the beginning of the year. So we'll have that on our website as soon as that happens.
And if someone is listening and is interested in getting the book, where can they go for that?
It's available most places that books are sold, but we have it exclusively at the museum. It's probably easiest just to go to our website and order it, and we'll ship it out for free. Unless it's international, there's a shipping charge. But anywhere in the U.S., it ships for free. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, lots of other places as well.
And where are you? You mentioned where you're located in Dallas, in case anyone's listening and wants to visit.
Yes, we're at 1201 Oak Lawn Avenue. We're in the Design District on the corner of Market Center and Oak Lawn.
That address again was 1201 Oak Lawn Avenue in Dallas, Texas. Now, Stacy, when it comes to trucking and motorcycles, there's a connection between the two, and you would, of course, use trucks to transport these motorcycles, right?
I mean, just like there's a camaraderie with truckers, there's a camaraderie with cyclists. So, we all get it. And a lot of truckers that we have relationships with transport our motorcycles, so we rely on them heavily, and there's some wonderful ones out there.
That was Stacy Mayfield, the co-founder and director of the Haas Moto Museum in Dallas, Texas. For more information on the museum, you can visit haasmotomuseum.com. That's HAAS motomuseum.com. Or you can call 972-685-3051. That number for the museum again is 972-685-3051. For Landline Now, I'm Ashley Blackford. Stay tuned for more after this.
Since you started, what you've loved about trucking is the freedom. Heading out on your favorite route, a good driving song, and thinking about truck insurance. Well, maybe not that last one. That's why we're here. At OOIDA, we have a full range of truck insurance products, expert advice, and great customer service, helping you get the right coverage for your operation. Go to OOIDA.com because your job is to drive. Our job is to help with everything else.
Landline Now, welcome back. There are a number of critical questions you need to answer in order to run a successful trucking business. Among the most important of those questions are, where's the freight going to be and how much is it going to pay? Today, Landline Now senior correspondent Ashley Blackford will bring us answers to both of those important questions with a look at this week's freight markets with the folks from DAT. Here's Ashley now with the report.
Thanks, Mark, and hello once again to Robert Rouse with DAT. How are you doing today, Robert?
I'm doing great, Ashley. Thanks for asking.
Now, since last week was a shorter shipping week due to Thanksgiving, how did the spot market perform?
Yeah, last week was an interesting one. With Thanksgiving last week, we saw a large drop in the overall load volume as a lot of manufacturers took an extended weekend and didn't ship for around 4 days. Some took even longer. It was the slowest week in the last 7 years with around 526,000 loads. We fully expect the load volume to rebound this week with a full shipping week, back up to something a little more normal than what we'd see. And when we look at the number of trucks on the DAT load board, they also decreased by around 31%, down to 266,000 trucks. This is fully expected during a holiday week. However, the good news is this is a similar volume to what we typically see for this time of year over the last 7 years. So not quite at the same dip as we saw with the overall load volume. When we look at the overall strength of the spot market last week, we saw load-to-truck ratios decrease slightly across all three equipment types. Even since it was a holiday week with a shortened shipping period, we expected to see a reduction in overall freight volume, so nothing was a surprise there. I think the one thing that we can take away is that the freight market is still pretty soft based on the overall loads, with a relatively strong number of trucks. When we look at this week's dry van load-to-truck ratio, just as an example, spot market load post dropped as it typically does during the Thanksgiving week, following last week's 45% decrease as the markets continued along a soft trajectory during what's typically the peak shipping season. Carrier equipment post decreased by about 32% week over week, as most drivers seem to take some time off with family, resulting in last week's dry van load-to-truck ratio decreasing down to 1.6. When we look at rates, national benchmark broker-to-carrier spot rates without fuel increased again for reefers by about 3 cents per mile. That's all the way up to $2 per mile. While vans increased even more at 6 cents per mile, all the way up to $1.63. That's after 3 straight weeks stuck at $1.57. So that was a good, nice bump there. After a couple decreases for flatbed, line haul rates actually increased in that by just a penny, but it's up to $1.88 per mile. The good news is we continue to see the price of diesel go down week over week, with the national average dropping another 6 cents per gallon last week. It's all the way down to $4.14 per gallon, and we are now at the lowest weekly price since the last week of July. So hopefully that will keep going down on that downward trajectory.
What is a freight market for owner-operators to consider for consistent loads and competitive rates?
Yeah, trucks carry more than 70% of goods moved in the United States each year. At DAT, we look at freight markets as either consumers or producers. Consumer markets have a lot more freight being shipped in than they produce. This means that there's usually an imbalance of trucks in that market, while producer markets are exactly the opposite. Today, I wanted to talk about some of the dynamics of one of the consumer markets that we look at often. The largest freight market in the Rocky Mountain region is Denver. It's the capital city of Colorado. Denver is the supply chain and logistics hub for the region. According to the Federal Highway Administration, of the freight moving out of Colorado, 24% goes to Wyoming, 17% goes to Nebraska, 8% goes to New Mexico, and 5% goes to Oklahoma. Of the freight moving into Colorado, 21% comes from Nebraska, 19% comes from Wyoming, and 3% comes from California and Canada. So according to the Colorado Motor Carrier Association, there are approximately 125,000 trucking companies in Colorado as of August 2021, and about 1 in 19 jobs in the state are trucking jobs. There's about 15,000 trucking companies located in Colorado, and most are small, locally owned companies, so owner-operators, things like that. The Colorado Office of Economic Development and International Trade expands those statistics, stating that there's 16,700 transportation and logistics companies in the state, which includes all those trucking companies. And these companies employ nearly 200,000 residents of Colorado, and their cumulative annual payroll all the way up to $13.4 billion. Annually, about $305 billion in goods of all kinds are shipped into and out of Colorado. Of those goods, 2/3 are shipped by trucks. The CMCA estimates that the value of freight shipped to and from sites in Colorado will increase by about 82% by 2045. And the percentage shipped by truck will increase slightly to 68% of the total volume. By comparison, rail only carries about 9% of the total freight into and out of Denver, according to that Freight Highway Association. So the reason why all this is important, of the commodities being shipped from Colorado, that's what they're producing, the Freight Highway Association estimates that by 2045, the top 5 by weight will be natural gas and coal, gravel, natural sands, and non-metal mineral products. This is a big reason why they're a consumer market, because they're not producing a lot of stuff that other states would need, and they're really needing a lot of their goods being brought in from other states. So that's something that's why we have usually an imbalance, and we call that a consumer market. The CMCA notes that 79% of Colorado communities are served only by truck for their freight needs. The state is very dependent on trucks for its commerce, and there's 3 interstate highways in the state, I-25, I-70, and I-76. And as of 2019, the Colorado trucking industry paid over $500 million in federal and state roadway taxes. This is 37% of all vehicle taxes, despite the fact that trucks only drive about 6% of the total vehicle miles driven in the state.
A couple of weeks ago, you talked about how important winterization is for owner-operators that may have operated mostly in the South. How does that impact fuel?
Yeah, this is an important question. Winter is fast approaching, and owner-operators should already be starting their winter fuel preparation. The top concern for winter truckers is ensuring diesel fuel doesn't gel, which can occur around 5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit, while ice formation and filter plugging can occur at temperatures as high as 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So why does diesel gel? As temperatures decrease, the paraffin wax, which is present in the ULSD fuel, can solidify and freeze, causing a blockage in the engine's fuel flow. Additionally, any water in the fuel may freeze as well on the surfaces of the fuel filters, and that's going to lead to a restriction in the fuel flow and a difficulty starting a cold engine. So, one of the big things is fuel additives. Most experienced truckers use winter diesel additives, which is ineffective and cost efficient in preparing fuel for frigid weather. A diesel fuel supplement is popular amongst truckers, a winterizer or anti-gel used in the cold winter months to prevent fuel gelling and keep fuel filters from plugging with ice and wax. A single 12-ounce bottle of the product, which typically retails about $14 to $15, can treat 100 gallons of diesel fuel, so it's very useful. In an emergency, though, when fuel has already gelled, Diesel 911 is a go-to product for most truckers. The product formula reliquefies gelled fuel and de-ices frozen fuel to restore the flow of diesel fuel to the engine.
All right. If our listeners want more information, where can they go for that?
Yeah, you can get the latest rate information at dat.com/trendlines, or look for the weekly market updates on the DAT blog. They're published every Wednesday. Or even check out and subscribe to the DAT IQ channel on YouTube, where our analytics and forecasting teams take a deep dive into the freight markets each week.
All right, Robert, thank you so much.
Thanks, Ashley.
That was Robert Rouse at DAT. Mark, back to you.
Thanks, Ashley. That's our program for today. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Rettig, and this is Landline Now.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you want more content, go to landline.media to get updated news, information, and archived editions of our show. Once again, that's landline.media.
I'm a dad,
a son,
a husband,
wife,
I'm a writer,
photographer.
I farm.
I'm a veteran.
I love old cars, fishing,
my kids,
Chrome.
And I am
a professional truck driver.
And together we are OOIDA.
OOIDA was founded by truckers to stand up and speak on behalf of truckers. We've done that by combining the individual voices of our members into a single, powerful voice. Protecting your interests, defending your rights.
Join us!
Make your voice heard. Join OOIDA, the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association. Call 1-800-444-5791 or visit ooida.com.